Something significant is happening at Arsenal right now, and if you are a serious Gunners fan, you need to understand the full picture, not just one headline, not just one transfer rumour. The full picture. Because right now, in the summer of 2026, Arsenal are sitting at a crossroads. They have just won the Premier League title. They have just reached the Champions League final. And now the entire football world is watching what they do next. But here is what makes this moment so fascinating. It is not just about who Arsenal signed this summer. It is about what has changed behind the scenes at this club, how that change is shaping every single decision being made right now, and why the next few weeks could define whether Arsenal become a true dynasty or simply a one-season wonder. And there are three separate but deeply connected stories that every Arsenal fan must understand right now. First, the departure of two former Arsenal chiefs from their new clubs in very quick succession, and what that tells us about the culture Mikel Arteta has built. Second, the Julian Alvarez transfer situation, and whether Arsenal can actually land one of the best strikers on the planet ahead of a Barcelona side that is already making serious moves. Third, the Real Madrid pursuit of Riccardo Calafiori and the uncomfortable question of whether Arsenal should actually consider selling one of their own. These three stories are all happening at the same time, and they are all connected, so let us work through each one carefully, precisely, and honestly, because that is what this channel is about. No noise, no clickbait, just serious analysis. And if that is what you are looking for, hit that subscribe button right now. Because this is the kind of deep breakdown you are going to want every single week as this summer transfer window unfolds. Let us start at the top. Here is what is truly at stake for Arsenal this summer. They have done the hard part. They won the league. They built something real under Arteta. But history is filled with clubs that reached the top and then failed to stay there. The reason is almost always the same. They could not evolve quickly enough. The transfer window opens on June 15th. That is less than 2 weeks away. And right now, Arsenal have a sporting director who is still relatively new, a squad that needs reinforcements in multiple positions, and a manager who has publicly spoken about his team needing to improve its standards every single season. The pressure is real. The decisions being made right now will determine whether Arsenal can defend their title, mount a serious Champions League challenge, and build a squad capable of competing at the very highest level for the next 3 or 4 years. And that is why every single one of these three stories matters deeply. Deep Dive Part 1. The fall of two former Arsenal chiefs and what it means. Let us begin with something that has not received nearly enough attention. In the space of less than a year, two men who were central figures in Arsenal's recent rise have both left their subsequent roles surprisingly quickly. The first is Gaspar. Edu served Arsenal for 5 years before leaving at the end of 2024. He then joined Nottingham Forest as their sporting director. He lasted 8 months before departing that role as well. The second is Jason Eto'o. Eto'o spent over a decade at Arsenal in various roles, including chief scout, assistant technical director, and at one point was even considered a strong candidate for the permanent sporting director position before Andrea Berta was ultimately appointed. Eto'o joined Brighton in September 2025 as their first ever sporting director in a revamp of senior roles, replacing technical director David Weir. He lasted 9 months before also departing, and here is the significant part. Eto'o was due to oversee his first summer transfer window at Brighton, which opens on June 15th. He will now play no part in it whatsoever. Brighton chairman Tony Bloom offered a brief statement thanking Eto'o and wishing him well for the future. That was it. 2 senior figures. 2 exits within months of each other, both men who were deeply embedded in Arsenal's structure for a long time. Now, it would be too simplistic to look at these 2 situations and draw the exact same conclusion. Brighton are a well-run, intelligent organisation, and Eto'o's departure likely reflects a question of fit rather than a reflection on his overall ability. The same caveat applies to Edu's situation at Nottingham Forest. Different clubs, different circumstances, different pressures. But here is what the evidence does suggest. Both Edu and Eto'o may have genuinely thrived within the very specific culture and structure that exists at Arsenal. A structure built around Josh Kroenke, Richard Garlick, and most importantly, Mikel Arteta. A structure where the manager's clear and defined footballing vision provides a framework for every recruitment decision that gets made. When you operate inside that kind of environment, decisions are clearer, the criteria for signings are established, the philosophy is consistent. The communication between the manager and the sporting department flows naturally because everyone is aligned around the same vision. When you step outside of that environment, you have to build all of that from scratch, and that is a very different challenge. It is also worth noting one criticism that has been levelled at both Edu and Eto'o during their Arsenal years. Some supporters and observers felt they operated too slowly in the transfer market at times, leaving the squad short in certain areas when quicker action might have strengthened it. That is a fair point of debate, and it raises questions about whether their working styles translate as effectively in environments where those supporting structures are not in place. What is clear, however, is this: the contrast with Andrea Berta is becoming more visible by the day. Berta, who came to Arsenal from Atletico Madrid, has been described as hitting the ground running at the Emirates. His background, his authority, and the relationships he already had in European football appear to have given him a significant advantage in stepping into the role. The situation is that Arsenal, after a period of transition in their sporting directorship, now appear to have found the right person for the moment. And the early signs of that summer window, even before it has officially opened, suggest Berta is operating decisively. That matters enormously as we move into the next part of this story. Julian Alvarez. The transfer situation. Arsenal cannot afford to lose. Let us be absolutely clear about something from the very start of this section. The Julian Alvarez situation is a rumour. It has not been confirmed. No fee has been agreed between any clubs. No official announcement has been made. What exists right now is a serious level of reported interest, a competing bid from a major European club, and a player whose name has been on Arsenal's radar for some time. But the details of this situation are important and they need to be understood carefully. Julian Alvarez currently plays for Atletico Madrid. He arrived there for a fee of over £80 million in 2024. In his time at the Spanish capital, he has scored 49 goals for the club. Before that, he spent 2 years in the Premier League with Manchester City, where he netted 36 times. He is also a World Cup winner with Argentina. Arsenal have identified Alvarez as a top target for this summer. That much is now clear, and the reason is obvious when you look at the squad. Arteta needs a forward who can operate at the highest level, score goals consistently, and provide tactical flexibility in attack. Alvarez fits that profile very well. However, the situation is complicated by one major factor. Barcelona have entered the race in a very significant way. Barcelona reportedly tabled a bid of £86.5 million for Alvarez. Atletico Madrid cast doubt over the weekend about whether their La Liga rivals had actually submitted that offer. But Barcelona themselves insist the offer was made. And here is the detail that makes this genuinely concerning for Arsenal. Spanish outlet Mundo Deportivo reports that Alvarez has already agreed personal terms with Barcelona on a 5-year contract. No fee has been agreed between the clubs. But the personal terms, according to that report, are done from Barcelona's side. Now, it is important to be precise here. A player agreeing personal terms with a club does not mean a transfer is complete. It does not even mean a transfer is likely if the clubs cannot agree a fee. But it does suggest that Barcelona are serious, that they have done the work on the player's side, and that Arsenal are facing a genuine battle for his signature. The evidence also suggests that Atletico Madrid will not sell cheaply. Alvarez cost them over £80 million 2 years ago. His output since arriving has been strong. And selling to a direct La Liga rival like Barcelona is a different kind of negotiation to selling to an English club. Whether Arsenal can match Barcelona's interest in terms of financial commitment remains unclear. What is clear is that this is not a simple signing. It will require decisive action from Andrea Berta and the Arsenal board if they want to win this race. Pundit Micah Richards has expressed his approval of Arsenal pursuing Alvarez, describing him as one of the best strikers in world football going into the World Cup. But Richards also made an important wider point that is worth examining carefully. His view is that Alvarez alone will not be enough. He believes Arsenal also need reinforcements on the left wing and a central midfielder with a more box-to-box style, someone with higher energy and aggression to complement the deeper distributing qualities of Martin Zubimendi. Richards specifically mentioned that bringing in Christian Norgard has worked to a certain degree in terms of temperament. His point about Zubimendi is tactical and precise. He believes that to truly utilise a player of Zubimendi's quality, he needs to be positioned slightly higher in order to get on the ball and dictate play from a deeper position. That requires another midfielder alongside him and Declan Rice, someone who can cover ground and bring intensity. The picture Richards paints is of an Arsenal squad that, if they can add a striker, a left winger and a central midfielder, could genuinely compete at the very highest level for the next 2 to 4 years. That is a significant investment, but the ambition at the club right now appears to match it. The situation with Alvarez remains fluid. It is a rumour with serious substance behind it. But Arsenal fans should not assume this signing is done. It is far from guaranteed, and the competition from Barcelona is very real. Riccardo Calafiori and the Real Madrid question. This is the story that will divide Arsenal supporters most sharply, and it deserves a careful and honest analysis. José Mourinho is expected to be appointed as the new Real Madrid manager following the club elections on Sunday, with Florentino Perez the strong favourite to win a fresh mandate and move quickly on the managerial appointment. Reports indicate Mourinho has already signed his new deal with Real Madrid, such is the level of confidence in Perez being re-elected. Before even officially taking the job, Mourinho has reportedly been outlining his plans for squad strengthening. Real Madrid have already reportedly reached an agreement with Ibrahima Konate to join on a free transfer from Liverpool. There is also reportedly an agreement on personal terms with Denzel Dumfries, with a plan to activate his €20 million release clause at Inter Milan once Perez is formally re-elected. That would represent 2 of the 6 defensive and midfield requests Mourinho has reportedly made, covering 2 midfielders, 2 centre-backs, a right-back and a left-back. And now, journalist Ramon Alvarez de Mon has reported that Mourinho has specifically requested that Real Madrid look into the possibility of signing Arsenal defender Riccardo Calafiori. The reason Mourinho is attracted to Calafiori is clear: versatility. Calafiori is a centre-back by trade, but has established himself as one of the better left-backs in the Premier League during his time at Arsenal. That ability to cover 2 of Mourinho's reported positional requests in one player makes him a highly efficient target from a squad-building perspective. Now let us look at the facts about Calafiori's current situation at Arsenal. The Italian international is 24 years old. He joined Arsenal from Bologna for €43.7 million 2 seasons ago. He is contracted to Arsenal until 2029. During the 2025 to 2026 campaign, he ousted Miles Lewis-Skelly as the Gunners' starting left-back, which is a significant statement about how highly Arteta rates him. He made 36 appearances in total this season, with 28 of those being starts, contributing 1 goal and 3 assists. However, there is an uncomfortable reality that cannot be ignored. Calafiori has missed 44 games through injury across his last 2 seasons at Arsenal. In the 2024 to 2025 season, he missed 29 games. In the 2025 to 2026 season, he missed 15 games. Those are significant numbers for a player of his age and at a club competing at the very highest level. Real Madrid's recent history at left-back has also not been smooth. Ferland Mendy has been beset by injury problems for the past 2 years. Alvaro Carreras arrived for €50 million last summer, but struggled at times as the season progressed. Fran Garcia is not trusted as the starting left-back at the Santiago Bernabeu. It is a position that Real Madrid genuinely need to solve, and Mourinho appears to believe Calafiori is the answer. Now, here is the analytical reality that Arsenal must confront if this pursuit becomes a formal offer. On one hand, Calafiori is clearly valued enormously by Arteta. His ability to play effectively at both centre-back and left-back gives Arsenal a level of defensive flexibility that is genuinely rare. He is 24 years old and contracted until 2029. Under normal circumstances, Arsenal would have absolutely no reason to sell. On the other hand, the injury record over the past 2 seasons is a genuine concern. 44 missed games across 2 seasons is a significant number. For a player whose value to the team is based heavily on his availability and physical presence, that pattern creates real uncertainty about long-term reliability. The situation is that if Real Madrid were to make an offer that Arsenal simply could not refuse, the injury record might make the decision easier to consider than it otherwise would be. But that threshold would have to be exceptionally high given Calafiori's age, contract length, and the tactical role he fills in Arteta's system. It is also worth noting that Calafiori goes against Real Madrid's recent philosophy of prioritising free transfers. Players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kylian Mbappe, Antonio Rudiger, and David Alaba all arrived at the Bernabeu without a transfer fee. Spending a significant sum on a 24-year-old with an injury history would represent a notable departure from that approach. At this stage, this remains a reported request from Mourinho. It is not a confirmed bid. It is not an official approach. Arsenal have given no indication they would entertain offers for Calafiori, and there is no suggestion that the player himself has expressed any desire to leave. But it is a story that Arsenal fans need to monitor carefully as this summer develops. Here is what ties all 3 of these situations together. Arsenal are entering a pivotal summer as Premier League champions with a new sporting director who is already demonstrating that he operates differently to his predecessors. Andrea Berta appears to be acting with speed and authority, qualities that have been praised in contrast to some of the slower movements that characterized the Edu and Eto'o era. The departures of Edu and Eto'o from their subsequent clubs serve as a reminder that what Arteta has built at Arsenal is genuinely unique. It is not just about tactics or signings. It is about a culture, a structure, and an alignment of vision that has taken years to construct. Berta has stepped into that structure and appears to be thriving within it. The Julian Alvarez pursuit reflects Arsenal's ambition to add a world-class striker to a squad that is already Premier League winning quality. The competition from Barcelona is real and cannot be dismissed. But if Berta can move decisively and Arsenal can demonstrate the financial commitment required, Alvarez represents exactly the kind of addition that could elevate this squad to the next level. The Calafiori situation presents a different kind of challenge. It is not about whether Arsenal want to sell. By every available indication, they do not. But the combination of a serious manager like Mourinho showing interest, Real Madrid's resources, and a nagging injury record means this is a story that will not disappear quietly. Arsenal must handle all three of these situations simultaneously, and the way they navigate them will tell us a great deal about where this club is heading. The evidence is clear. Arsenal are not a club in crisis. They are a club at the peak of their domestic game, actively trying to build towards sustained success on multiple fronts. The foundations are strong. The sporting director appears to be the right fit. The manager is already thinking about how to improve a team that just won the league. But the window is narrow. Barcelona are moving fast on Alvarez. Real Madrid are circling Calafiori. And the summer transfer window opens in less than 2 weeks. Every day matters now. This is the moment where the ambitions of this Arsenal project will either be reinforced with decisive action or complicated by hesitation and competition. The situation is genuinely compelling. And this channel will be here to cover every development as it happens with the same level of precision and honest analysis you have seen today. If you want that kind of coverage throughout this summer window, make sure you are subscribed to Jessica Arsenal Analyst. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and stay close. Because this summer is only just getting started, and the best stories are still ahead.